Good morning or afternoon. My name is Lucas Candy, and I'll be presenting my philosophy of education leadership in ED 6011. So first off, for a vision for educational leadership, I believe that the leader is the lid on the organization. This is a concept made popular by John Maxwell, the idea that if you're a leader if it's a 7 out of 10, your organization will never be higher than that because you won't be able to take them to the next level. And unfortunately, if you have people say you're only a 5 or 6 level of a leader, then the people who are well above you are going to get frustrated by your leadership and usually leave. Now, the good thing about this is you can raise your lid as a leader. So you need to constantly be working on yourself. So my vision for educational leader is someone who's constantly growing and raising their lid and trying to get better. So whether it's reading books like over there or participating in university or anything like that, always be striving to get better. Next up, train up more leaders, not more followers. And you might think, oh, you want to have a good, awesome, strong leader with lots of competent and efficient followers. But that model does not scale well at all. And even then, it doesn't work well. If you have 5 people that you're leading, yeah, they can bring you all your problems. But if you have 50 people or 100 people or more, that's not going to be very efficient. They're going to be coming to you with every little problem. It'll wear you out. It'll keep you in the weeds, not working on what you need to work on. So what you want is you want more leaders, because not only is it better for you, but it's better for them and it's better for the organization. You want a school that is full of leaders who see problems and fix them, who take charge, and are also raising up other leaders behind them. So it's a multiplying effect, not an adding effect. And final thing for vision for education leadership, I believe that a leader must coach and connect. So I would see a school that is always looking to make students better, to make teachers better, and also working on making themselves better. But yes, a leader must be a coach, connect. It's not an authoritarian top-down thing where I'm the boss and you do what I say. It's you come in, you build relationships, you connect with them, and you coach them. We're going to talk about connecting a little bit here in a second. Next up, components for effective leadership. I believe that you need to be a problem solver. Leadership is solving problems. Colin Powell. I was interviewing a gentleman one time. He's a business leader in the community. And I said, how should I build my leadership capacity? And he said, solve problems. He says, find something in your organization, something that's broken, and fix it. Or find something that you don't have that you think you should and start it. So it doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be flashy, but it just gets you building those muscles of being a problem solver. Next up, provide clarity. To be unclear is to be unkind. I have that up in my office because when you're coaching someone, often it's you want to avoid difficult conversations, uncomfortable conversations, but that doesn't solve you well or them well. Often we pretend it's to save their feelings, but really it's us being selfish. We don't want to have a hard conversation and we don't want to be the bad guy. So we skirt around things, but leaders need to be able to be clear. It doesn't mean you have to be mean about it. And again, talk about relationships. The more you build that relationship, the easier those conversations will be to have, but you can't be unclear. And also, it comes down to things like when you're casting a vision, casting the mission, you have to make sure that you're crystal clear on what that means. And that means working with your staff, because you have a staff of leaders, remember, according to the vision, and you're going to drill down on what that means and making sure you're all on the same page so you don't have people going off in slightly different directions. Next up, building relationships. So effective leadership is be a problem solver, provide clarity, and build relationships. It's a kind of hokey saying, but it is true. John Maxwell, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. You need to build those relationships because that makes coaching us that much more easy to do. I had a situation where this kind of came to pass this year. I had someone new on staff and they worked in kind of a different area than I did. So I hadn't built that relationship. And I normally pride myself in being pretty good at connecting with people. And I remember thinking, I haven't really kind of reached out to those people yet and made those connections. And I said, I will. It was busy, start of the year, September. Then someone came to me and I had to have a hard conversation with one of these people. And I was kicking myself because I had not built that relationship first. So now the first thing they ever see from me is coming to them with a hard conversation. And that's a hard spot to start it. Now it went well and I've built a relationship since then and I've been very intentional about it, but it bit me in the butt there that time. Next up, how missing components can be developed. So if you're not a problem solver, or if someone you're working with isn't a problem solver, it just needs practice. Like that leader said, find something that's broken and fix it. Making sure that you're encouraging your staff to be problem solvers, not just problem pointer outers. Those people are not that valuable. Problem solvers are. In fact, I've read before, at its heart, the value of a leader is how good are they at solving problems. That's what separates them from others, is they're willing to just say, hey, there's a problem, let's go fix it. They're not waiting for permission or to be told to do it. Next up, not providing enough clarity. So if that's the problem, if you're not getting enough clarity, take time to double check. Make sure that everyone is crystal clear about what is going to happen, how it's going to happen at the end of a meeting. Make sure everyone knows who's doing which jobs. When it's casting a vision, you need to really over communicate and make sure everyone knows what you're doing. And I know some people have said that the CEO really should be a CRO, Chief Reminding Officer, that you're always pointing them back to this thing. Your staff, your community should almost be sick of hearing about your mission and vision, because if you're not, they might not be getting it. Because remember, you might think, well, I told you guys what our mission and vision was at the AGM last year. Aren't you all like thinking about it all the time? No, they're not. You have to constantly remind them so they know that, one, you're serious about it and you're not, it wasn't just something you said, but also that you think it's important enough to keep thinking about. And finally, if it's about not building relationships, you need to make connections a priority. Now, people usually fall into one of two categories. They're either relationship driven, and these people will build relationships, you can't stop them from doing it, or they're task driven. And the problem is usually going to be with the task driven people. These people can get a job done, no problem, but sometimes they bulldoze people to do it. They see people as almost a distraction, or something that gets in the way. So you need to connect with those. If it's you need to take this to heart. If it's someone else on your team, you need to coach them up in this. This is where coaching comes in, and say, listen, those people are why we're here. The students are why we're here. The teachers are why we're here. Yes, the job you're doing is going to be awesome, but you can't. It's all about the people and serving them well. So you have to make sure that you take time to connect. And one of the ways I do that personally is, I'm busy, I've got stuff going on, all that sort of thing. But on Friday afternoons, usually it's kind of a quieter time, and none of the teachers are like stressed about finishing something because they have the weekend. And usually it's kind of kind of at the end of the day. And I usually will take, half an hour, and I'll kind of circulate around the different classrooms, and I'll pop in. And usually the people are kind of in their little cliques talking with each other in their teaching groups. And I'll pop in, I'll have a little talk. Sometimes it's about school, sometimes it's about just the weekend, sometimes about whatever, but I'm building that relationship, which builds trust, which helps with coaching. So finally, how to build capacity and sustainability. And I love this, the idea of growing capacity. It's something I like to look at as well. First of all, this one's kind of a cheat because you can't do this in the public system. And I recognize that. Where I teach at a private school, this is something I can do and that we can do and we have done, which is we don't motivate our hires, we hire motivated people. So we're very intentional about who we hire. We hire for three things. Are they hungry? Are they humble? Are they smart? Which, if you're interested, I can get into more on that later. But we would definitely rather take someone who is coachable and who shows leadership capacity, but is a brand new teacher and doesn't know their stuff well, and might have a kind of thin resume, but they have the right attitude, over someone who seems kind of like meh about teaching. It's a job to them, and they're probably decent at it, but they're not coachable at all. Because we can train up that motivated one, whereas the one who's kind of stuck in place, it's a lot hard. It's not impossible, and in the right culture, you can shift it, but it's a lot harder to train those people up. So next one up. Coaching and honest feedback. And remember, this is not a top-down thing. This is not popping into your room, once a semester and like filling out a form. It's moving alongside. Hey, this is all the things I thought you did well. Was there anything you think you could work on? It's a coach, right? A coach in a sport, they're not there to just point out everything you did wrong. They're there to come alongside you and, hey, you're doing this wrong, but let's help you make it better, right? And honest feedback. And that is a lot easier pill to swallow for teachers if you've already built a relationship with them, if there's already trust there. Next up, don't let people leave monkeys on your desk. And this comes from an old story. I believe it's from Dave Ramsey. And he says, it helps a lot as a leader to picture when someone comes to your office and tries to dump a problem on your desk, picture a monkey on their shoulder. And when they tell you about the problem, oh, this thing's broken, or that kid's acting up this way, picture that monkey jumping off their shoulder and onto your desk. And it might not be that big of a problem. And it's easy to say, yeah, I'll take care of that. But if you do that consistently, at the end of the day, your office is full of monkeys and it's all you do. And you're putting out fires all day. And it's not one, it's not good for you because you're not doing the work you need to be doing. And two, it's not good for them because it just teaches them to be passive and to be problem pointer outers, not problem solvers. So the right thing to do here is when they try to let that monkey go on your desk, you put it right back on their shoulder and say, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. Would you mind thinking it over and giving me some possible solutions on how we can solve this and which one you think is the best solution? This gives them practice, one, being a problem solver, and also it gets them thinking in that problem solving mindset as opposed to just pointing it out. Sometimes people are doing it because they're lazy. Sometimes people are doing it because they don't feel like they have the authority to deal with it. But if you empower them and you're saying, listen, I trust you, I think you could do a great job at this, why don't you take care of that? You can get some pretty cool leadership opportunities there to develop that capacity. And then finally, delegate authority, not tasks. So don't be a micromanager. And again, it's going to be different for the person. If you have a brand new teacher, you're not going to want to give them full reign. You want to give them some boundaries maybe, but you're going to want to let them kind of take off with it. And there's a couple reasons, because this is going to build their confidence, is going to build their leadership capacity. And also chances are they're going to come up with ideas that you never would have thought of in a million years. I'm usually on a lot of the committees at our school. This year, I didn't have time to be on our committee for our winter carnival. And I was like, oh, I hope it's okay that I'm not on it, but man, the stuff they came up with, and they came up with a couple of things that I would have probably pushed back against in the planning committee, because I wouldn't have thought they would have worked, but they ended up being some of the most successful aspects of winter carnival, right? Because they were given the authority to do it. We resourced them with time and money and authority and let them loose. And yes, there's things that they can improve, and they will improve for next year, but they did a stellar job on Winter Carnival because we delegated the authority, not the specific tasks. So that is another way to build leadership capacity. So hopefully I haven't taken up too much of your time. I really enjoyed this activity. Thank you so much for letting me share, and have a great day.